Thank you very much. I will talk about a topic that we have more questions to the future than direct statements. But I would like to make a basic overview about bibliographical metadata and web archives in a bit in general also, and through our practice. So that will be the topic of today's presentation and how I can go forward. Going back to the topic, so we have some basic questions in this sense about metadata and web archiving, because it's a really interesting special kind of source, either for researchers or for librarians. So that it is not simple to answer that what is the subject of the description at all. What kind of metadata is needed, in what format, how this kind of metadata can be produced, and also a major question that what can this data can be used for. So here you can see a basic overview how the World Wide Web is appearing. So there are major hubs, and it's not a phenomena that is appearing in a simple geographic way, but there are some major hubs in Europe, in the US, a bit less, I think, because of the censorship effects in China and in Japan. So when we are talking about the web and archiving the web, we also should take this assumption how the number of the websites appearing geographically, that what we want to archive. So the most well-known service is the Internet Archive, and almost everybody knows the Wayback Machine, but it contains a huge amount of content from huge amount of domains that we don't have tools to simply manage this kind of materials. So we can only search by website names in the Wayback Machine. The Internet Archive is offering a special service for national libraries that they can filtering out content by national domains, and they develop a full text search tool and API, but it is only relevant and valid for an exact national domain. Nowadays, the German National Library and the National State Library from Hungary are using this service, but there are major copyright issues, so these services are available only in the reading rooms in the library. We hope that due to the new European Copyright Directive, the use of API for researchers will be public in the near future. And here you can see an example that many kind of interfaces from national web archives with several kinds of level softwares are appearing on the web, and here you can see a full text search in the UK Web Archive. And I'm continuing to just make an overview about the main challenges I've already mentioned: the lack of full text search capability because of the sheer size of the archive, or because of not just copyright by GDPR considerations also that are really very relevant in this context. And a major problem is the lack of relevance. The big question is how to get relevant hits from a huge set of archived web pages that has full of partially duplicated content and so-called garbage, so a content segment we cannot filter out. So it's a major problem for all kind of the digital materials, but it's a special kind of resource. You cannot manage it as easily as in case of digitized books or newspapers. And such a knowledge base that Google has is out of question simply for the web archiving community. This community simply does not have the amount of financial and personal work for resources to work with over 200 ranking factors. You can find some example from these factors here. But the next logical question is that what can we do instead? We can try to make a metadata supported full text search service for the National Web Archive services, and mainly in the future we can try to develop semantic web-based query tools and services. They are not existing nowadays, but I think that there's an urgent need in this field to develop these kind of tools and services. And there is also a major question that from a non-librarian and non-metadata librarian perspective, you can define the living web as a one single document, as a huge, ever-changing, unlimited hypermedia universe. But if we would like to somehow define the web from a librarian perspective, we have to find some units that can be defined in the web, and it seems to be generally the domains, the domain names that we can talk about in this model, and the most important point is that we have to find a segment, a unit that has some content that can be understandable. So here we can talk about representative information, but this representative information, the appearance of representative information only matters when you can have a meaningful content with the representative information. So the context does really matter also. And the domains boundary content boundary problems. Sometimes the domain is too big or too small. A kind of content can be found in several domains or just in a domain segment. So the archive web it can be defined as a versioned timestamp file repository, and we can use some and then all the national web archives or institutions that are working with web archives using some basic collection methods, selective event-based archiving harvest, mainly national domain-wide harvest, automatic submit, or deposit, mainly organized by some national deposit law in some countries. And we can also define the levels of description. So it can be a collection level, a sub-collection level, a website unit level, a document level, and a file level. So you can see that it's really complex. Each library have to define their own scope regarding to the scale of archiving, the available resources, and of course the needs of the users. There are some metadata types we can talk about. Title is really problematic because it can have lots of variations. Creator, contributor, publisher. Yesterday we also talked about in this conference about the uncertain roles, that how these can appear in a really uncertain ways in different contexts. The same is true about the rights, the unclear legal status of the web archive document or web page. What kind of dates we are talking about? The date of creation, the date of archiving can be defined. These dates at all, etc. So it's also not a simple way. And the subject type, I don't have to mention that we are working with a very mixed type of content. So these are the descriptive metadata resources mainly, but we have some administrative and technical metadata types. I don't want to talk in a detailed way about it because the time is running. And we have some major help by some recommendations. There is an ISO standard that define some statistics and quality issues for web archiving, mainly offering collection level indicators, but not helping so much in metadata field. However, the OCIC Web Archiving Metadata Working Group has made a recommendation that is also focusing on mostly site level people, not in this case not in collection level, but on site level bibliography data fields, mainly based on the Dublin core schema, but they are offering mappings to several other schema as well. But in my opinion, it's still not comprehensive enough. So it has to be modified for the and constantly updated for the actual needs of the library and community and web archiving community. And there is a metadata application profile for description of websites and archive records by the New York Art Resources Consortium. It is focusing on site level and using mainly the MARC RDA terms. And I haven't mentioned that the archived documents content are appearing not in a file system but in work files. These are container files that has a maximum amount of size, and then we have special softwares to retrieve content from these work formats. This format is currently under revision by the leadership of the French National Library. So we really hope that some more metadata elements will appear in the next specification. The whole web archiving community will work on this issue together with the International Internet Preservation Consortium and some researchers more. So we and here you can see that we have tried to build up a database plan for the Hungarian Web Archive on website level with the descriptive, administrative, and technical metadata, tons of data types you can define, and you have to define the big question that what kind of library will have enough human resource to collect these kind of data types, even for a small collection, and we can define XML schema definition and XSLT files, and we can use controlled vocabularies and authority service links for personal geographic names, and we can look for related sites on the living web and in the archive, and we can generate XML records on site level and sub collection level, but still it's a kind of pilot way by manual data entry with the XML notepad software. We still don't have a database that can have our job, and many kinds of workflows have to be automated in the future. Here are some examples and a snippet from the public demo collection webpage. These are some websites that can be published without copyright problems. We have the permission for these websites, and in the Hungarian case, we don't need permission for the official websites that are maintained by state bodies, ministries, public administration. So there will be a huge amount of websites in the public collection in the future, and we have to find some automatized metadata ways, and not just these manual tools we are using in this pilot project, and we have a special software we have developed together with colleagues from the Danish National Library that is based on Solar, so you can retrieve content from web archives, from work files by the help of Solar indexing, and we have filtering options by topic, subtopic, genre, and type, and the newest development that the Danish colleagues have developed a kind of version that does not allow access for the full text, but you can search for the metadata. So the different kind of metadata fields, and then it can have a major help for end users and also for researchers. I've already mentioned that the absence of efficient and meaningful exploration methods of the archive content is a really major hurdle, because we have to turn in a longer term web archives to a usable and useful information resource, and we have to adapt somehow semantic web tools and methods to web archive in environments. We could see two examples by the digitized newspapers, and we have to go on this way. Also, it's not easy, because on the restricted content you cannot really apply the linked open data principles or just by some restrictions. But my opinion is that in a longer term, the web archives must be a part of the linked data universe with advanced query and integration capabilities, at least by metadata level, and then it must be able to directly exploitable by other systems and tools. Here you can find them, and the first major article by German IT researchers that is focusing on this topic. And there are some possible methods that we can extract entities, we can generate RDF triples, we can enrichment of entities from your external resources, we can publish thing data, and we can make advanced queries and ranking models based on semantic data in the future. And we don't have any kind of extension schema bond or extension, or we don't have any kind of schema for web archiving with these kind of new FRBR-like models that Peter mentioned yesterday. And I also mentioned that the OCLC basic element set only for a limited number of descriptive metadata resources. A kind of solution can be that has applied to library catalogs already, that some microdata resources can be integrated into the source code of a web sides, and the crawling robots can use their definition of structural language interface in this term, and it can help the display of the archived material. Specific microdata elements could help to understand the structure and layout of the archived content and kind of long-term preservation support, and then some specific microdata elements can help to determine the different content formats in a website with the description of type, version, and other important features. But it's just the general idea that I was thinking about with my former boss, the former head of informatics, Adam Horvath. But still, there is no way ahead recently. So and we have to provide somehow in the future also links to the semantic Wikipedia or semantic library catalogs, and we can use several kind of useful features in the future. I just mentioned some in these slides. And at the end, I would like to refer that we are talking about Unicodes and collections also, and that several metadata types can be important to the users in this context. And we have started an experiment at the Hungarian National Library. We opted for RDA as our content standard. I have to mention that the Czech National Library has an RDA application profile already, so they are using it. I think by the first in Europe, and we would like to build up a similar kind of application profile. And the major basic point is we are using two different resources instead of two versions of the same resource. So the original website and the archive website data are appearing or will appear separately. Here you can see the main idea of this model, and some further plans. We have to build up a database and form-based data and interface part of the new nationwide Hungarian library system, and we have to cooperate with other memory institutions. For example, in case of shared cataloging, we have to offer automatic and then semi-automatic metadata generation for mainly for mostly technical and administrative data, where the additional value of human workforce is not needed, and we have to provide somehow also automatic entity identification and extraction from the full text by names, event concepts, and so on. Also a major point that I have already mentioned, that the enriching of metadata from external resources, and also there are some cases, the Czech or the British cases, like the British Library, the Slovak National Library, they are currently incorporating metadata of important archive websites into the national bibliography. Is also an important point, and faceted full text field lists by metadata. can be also a major added value in the future. So thank you for your attention. Here you can find the homepage of all of our project. You can find any kind of presentations and head articles from the last 5 years, and we have a description from the Web Archive and the homepage of the Internet Preservation Consortium, and you can find all of us in this email address at the National Library. So it was a really basic overview, and I can tell again that I couldn't tell as much concrete results as we heard in the previous presentations, but I hope that we can work together on these issues in the future, together with the Web Archiving community and metadata and semantic web specialists, and we will go forward together. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Márton, for your speech. Are there any questions here in the room? Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, you mentioned schema for, but my question is that do you use other microphones which are available, like for the SEO purpose? Lots of current website uses Twitter tags or Facebook tags, and etc.
Yeah, we have to implement them. We are using text for selective archiving. So, for example, when we are building up a collection for Hungarian news resources about the Ukrainian war, we are using text to define the exact resources, but we haven't integrated to any kind of work flows the use of these texts. It's a major task for the future. So it's a manual job now. So we have to automating as much workflows as possible, because there is not enough work. People anywhere in the world.
Any other question?
Regarding the classifications that you will use for the metadata, will you by default be using the authorities of National Library, of the Hungarian National Library? Will it be obligatory for you to use them when possible, or you are autonomous?
We are autonomous now. It is also a major task that when we will have a complete set of authority files, we already have it for the traditional and digitized documents, but it's a major task to apply it for not just for the Web Archive, but also for all kind of born digital documents. Because these are from historical reasons and several kind of reasons. These were catalogued and handled separately from the main library collection. So we hope that we will have the new library system, and then in the context of the new library system, we can manage this issue also, because it's an important point. We have some examples. The Australian example, the British library, where they are using the general authority files for web archiving.
There is one question or two questions in chat. So if I may, the first one, would you please highlight what kind of metadata is publicly available to the users?
Some I have mentioned some kind of metadata, title and domain and in some context geographical names also, and the top level domain and name of the website. The problem is that I have mentioned that sometimes these are really ambiguous resources, and you can't rely on these metadata on the same way as you can rely on the traditional and digitized resources.
So basically, these are descriptive metadata.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
But also there are some kind of technical and administrative metadata I also mentioned on the slides, but the generation of them has to be really automated.
Thanks. Second question from the chat: is there any API interface at Hungarian Library for this type of data?
We currently don't have API, but we are planning it to apply. Many national libraries have API, and as I mentioned, we have subscribed to the Internet Archive service for the .hu domain, and they are offering an API, and the next possible step will be that we are working together in the same administrative context with the Digital Humanities Center with researchers, and they are planning to use this API. If we cannot serve this collection to the end users because of copyright reasons, at least the API can be available for researchers. And somehow we would like to integrate our own collections with this API, and that has a unified access. But it will be nothing tomorrow, I'm afraid. It's a longer path.
That's always a problem. Perfect. Maybe space for the last question. No, there is one question in chat. Do you index websites? I would answer yes. Yes.
So for those kind of collections that have a limited scope, we are indexing. For nationwide collections, it's impossible to index because these are really huge archived data sets, and the case is the same with the Internet Archive, as I mentioned, that by the current technical capabilities, it's impossible to index them, but but we have several kind of tools. As I mentioned, we have a solver-based tools. Some web archives are using Elasticsearch-based tools, and also there is a tool developed by the Internet Archive, and it's open source, and it's also being developed further by a new Python-based software by a developer by the help of the IIPC consortium. So we are working on this issue, indexing issues.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.